Hello and welcome to yet another match of the 2021 Galactic Pod Racing Circuit. I am Paige, joined today by King Bean Dip for the
Oh.
most Group C match imaginable.
Yep. So, yeah, we have Zelascelar and Beleos. Sorry, I'm a little slow. I don't remember what their seed positions were.
I know Zelascelar is 3, because I'm 2, for our group at least.
um, Find that here. Let's see here. Zelascelar qualified in 10th place overall, and Beleos in 19th. So there is a bit of a spread between the two.
Yep,
But Beleos has certainly improved a lot since the last tournament.
he really has. He pushed me on a couple of tracks.
Both players say they're ready, so I'm going to go ahead and give the countdown.
All right, let's do it.
So as soon as the stream delay catches up, we will be off. So our players decided to start the match on Scrapper's Run, which is
Sorry, go ahead.
it's one of the shortest tracks in the game, but it is very technical. It's one of the few tracks in the game that is short enough that you can't optimally. You don't use the same boost cycle on all 3 laps.
Yeah. It's definitely a weird one, and I think we're off. This is it's also a really popular track.
Yeah, for sure.
And this turn Zelascelar's in right now is what I used to refer to as a death corner, just because it is really likely to kill you if you scrape it at any kind of speed.
Yeah, for sure. It's especially newer players getting used to sliding. They have a lot of difficulty timing the slide release to avoid hitting the wall on that sharp turn, especially after just coming off of fast terrain, so your pod is going unusually fast when you get there.
I stand by Ace calling that the Speedy Tube as the best area name in the game.
That's right.
But that tube isn't just fast terrain. What happens with that one is it kind of locks you in place, so your turning is reduced, and you can't tilt your pod. It's kind of odd. It's one of like 3 places in the game that does that. But overall, this is looking really clean from Zelascelar, and Beleos is looking way better than he did last year. I know that's something we've already said, but
he's really struggling to keep his boost on, but he's racing pretty clean otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a narrow track for 80% of it that keeping your boost up in a lot of instances is pretty difficult. Like, there's a lot of spots where I still struggle to.
Uh-huh.
But that was a really nice lap from Beleos, 42. And Zelascelar with the death coming out of that, that's actually a pretty common one if you try to get your boost in early.
Yeah.
I think
that chicane he went through is really tight if you're taking it at speed.
Yeah, I think that's my second most common reset point on this track. A 158.04. That's not half bad.
Nope.
Any kind of sub 2 is typically your threshold for a good beginner goal on this track. Actually, not even beginner goal, like a good mid-tier goal. Especially if you're not doing the end of tube jump. Which I can't blame anyone for not going for in tournament. But 227 for Beleos. That looks like a... are his PBs real?
There's no way that's real. This is one of his... Oh, Beleos. Sorry.
Yeah, Beleos. That's Zelascelar.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because the reason I'm asking for anyone in chat, a lot of players in this tournament, I think both of us included, a lot of the PBs you'll see are not actual PBs. They're just the best time we got on that install of the game.
Yeah.
But that is...
For instance, I have multiple game profiles where I use one for full track runs and another one for skips, and so they can get tangled up and stuff.
But that was a good first track win for Zelascelar.
So immediately both players are going into the track bans. So both players get 2 tracks that cannot be used for the remainder of the match. Zelascelar has taken out Zaga Challenge and Bunta Training Course. Beleos has taken out Fire Mountain Rally and Endoprime
Endoprime
Centrum.
Centrum. Huh. It's an interesting set of bans for these two.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm really surprised to see a Bunta Training ban against Beleos.
Maybe Zelascelar is like me and just hates that track.
And maybe Beleos is like me and thinks you're both wrong on that.
It's very possible.
I mean, Beleos did voluntarily take me to Bunta Training in our match. So Zelascelar might just be thinking that's a comfort pick for Beleos.
Uh-huh.
Let's see what pod Beleos comes out of. He actually has been super creative on his pod and track bans. His use of forces has been very good.
Yeah. We've been having a lot of matches where one of the players will suddenly use all of their forces on the last race, just to get them used up.
Yeah, which leads to some very fun moments.
Yeah. At the same time, though, it's not a strategically very wise thing to do, because often there are certain pods you can ban or certain tracks where you can force skips that would really throw your opponent off.
Oh, absolutely. A bowls ban from Beleos. And a gauntlet ban for Zelascelar. I guess he got enough of that one in qualifying.
So now just wait a moment for Beleos to choose the track we're going to.
Yep.
And after that, Beleos will have the option to
force either skips or no upgrades.
Or extra pod bans.
Yeah. Because, I mean, as context, in a previous match for Beleos, he banned Bowls, and Ben. Like, he's been kind of angling to drive people farther down the tier list.
Uh-huh. So Beleos picked Spice Mine Run without forces.
Okay. Spice Mine is a longer track, and it's mostly pretty simple, but because of that, you have to be super clean.
Yeah. I wonder if he chose that track because Zelascelar picked or banned Zaga Challenge.
I wouldn't be surprised.
A very similar track. It's part of the track is the same as Spice Mine, but in reverse.
Yeah. I much prefer Spice Mine Run to Zaga. But Zaga is one of those just wake me up when I'm done on the track. It's so slow.
I think the problem with Zaga is that it is less obvious what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
To go fast. On Spice Mine, get the long boost, take the turns tight. On Zaga, you have route choices, and you have choices about how to handle the bulldozer at the end of the track.
To the point where we've coined the term dozer awareness.
Yep.
Zelascelar's got a 344 on Spice Mine. That's not bad. I didn't see Beleos' PB. But it looks like they're both ready. Yep, gave the countdown already. Nice.
I played this track yesterday against Zelascelar, and he got a 348.08. So I guess we can see if he'll beat that time.
I mean, that one, he died. He died for that time, didn't he?
I think so.
I mean, if his PB's a high 344, I don't think you'd get a 48
Yeah.
without a death most of the time.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Actually, 2 bad bonks would do it.
Oh wait, no, it's recorded right here. He did not get any deaths.
Huh. Oh, Beleos taking a different route. I have forgotten what this route looks like.
Yep, it is. Yeah, this route is a bit slower. It takes you
It's
on
not
a
that much
turn that is
slower, is it?
pretty far out of the way. It probably costs like half a second or something.
That's not awful.
No.
It's significant at the top level, but
Yeah.
all right. But there was a
It's
death on the turn, which makes it way slower.
Yeah. It is an odd route choice considering that the fast way isn't even difficult.
No, fast way's way safer,
Uh-huh.
which isn't something you get to say very often.
Zelascelar coming into the corkscrew. This is a very long corkscrew over this lava pit.
And it makes it from this corkscrew to the end of the track. Your heat management is key and very difficult.
Yeah. And we see Zelascelar underheating quite a bit. So how the boost works in this game, as you are boosting, your pod heats up. When you're not boosting, you cool down. And if you are all the way cooled off and not boosting, that means we call that underheating. And the problem is that you are spending time not boosting that you could have spent boosting. And so before you reach a section of turns on a track, you want to use up a lot of boost so that you won't underheat by the end of that turn section.
Yeah.
And so Zelascelar was failing to do that on the corkscrew section.
It's really hard to not underheat there.
Uh-huh.
It took me a long time to get that timing and angle down. Beleos took half of the faster route this time. And he takes the correct fork there.
Yeah, it's interesting he's taking the correct fork, which is harder than taking the correct route earlier on the track.
Zelascelar's looking way better on heat this lap. Oh, he lost that boost. So he'll still underheat, but a little bit less.
Yeah.
And he does mitigate it a little bit by boosting in there, so that was maybe half a second of underheat. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
As a general rule for Ben, at least I think my math checks here, you lose a little under 4/10 of a second for every second of underheating.
It just occurs to me, I now
100% on
have
that,
the
but-
tools to simulate that.
Please do. I want to know if my math checks. It's literally just what percentage of your boosting top speed is your boost thrust.
Yeah. Oh, well, that itself is really easy to calculate, but
Yeah.
that doesn't quite tell you the whole story.
No, but that's like
Oh,
where I
it's
am.
actually really close.
Yeah.
All right, so 38% of Ben's.
Let's
top
figure
speed
this one out
from
off.
boost thrust. Well, I already
Figure this one out off
calculated.
But let's see how Zelascelar's heat looks coming into this on lap 3. Slightly lower heat than you'd want entering the tube on lap 3.
Mhm.
But if he holds this boost, it's going to be manageable. Because on lap 3, you want to max out your heat going into the market, don't you?
Yeah.
Ooh, Zelascelar with what we call the mic death a lot of the time.
As ideally, you want to catch fire right before the finish line.
About a third of a second before crossing the line, right?
Yeah. And you basically can't do that on this track if you have not maxed out your heat before the corkscrew.
I don't know if I've ever managed to do it.
I've done it a couple times. It's a pain.
Yeah. Oh, I noticed earlier, but I didn't draw any attention to it. Beleos is taking the slower route here, too.
Yeah.
But that slower route is a little bit easier, I feel. The track's slightly wider and has a better lineup at the end.
I never take it. I don't really know.
But solid run from Zelascelar, and I didn't see if Beleos got another PB there, but that wasn't too bad considering his routing choices.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see what our ban choices are. But Spice Mine Run is always a fun track to see. It doesn't get picked all that often. In general, the only Mongaza track you ever really see is MGS, and that's just because people pick it for volatility.
Yeah. The track is so short and so highly optimized that you, in order to beat your opponent, you have to be pushing yourself to the brink of death, like
Every turn.
every turn.
Let's see.
Waiting on Beleos' pot ban.
Ben.
It is Ben. Ben Quadaneros, aka the fastest pot in the game.
He last time he first banned Ben, he was planning to take an executioner pick. We'll see if Zelascelar gets that read and if he's right on it.
Uh-huh. Which is really funny because yesterday in my match with Zelascelar, when he banned Ben, I would ban Executioner.
Executioner is just really hard on lower traction. I don't like those. I don't like that tunnel.
Doing it with Bulls is a bit less reliable.
Yeah. So Bulba's Legacy ban.
Legacy. That is another short but very technical track.
It's actually not a bad pick. Bowls is going to still be solid there just because low traction.
No, you definitely want to use Mars.
True.
Maybe Bulls can beat Mars in theory, but
you can in theory. But yeah, Mars is definitely the pick. You're right.
Yeah, Mars or Mahonic or Elan, they'd all be really good there.
I would not pick Elan there. Low traction, high turn rate is sketchy on that.
No, you just got to use R600.
Leave. All right, so let's see if there is the Executioner take from Beleos. Yep.
That's great. Executioner it is. Any forces?
Force banning Mars.
Interesting.
Oh. I'm not sure about picking Mars here anyway. That tube would be a nightmare on Mars.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like that tube is, oh god.
So the obvious pick here is Bull's Roar.
I could see a bullseye,
since he is
actually.
the second fastest pod by quite a bit.
Yeah, I could see a bullseye knowing these two.
Ooh, Zelascelar is taking Beto.
I mean, Beto is his favorite.
Ooh, yes.
Beto is to Zelascelar as Rat's Terrell is to you.
If Beleos takes Bulls and has practiced for this,
he does have an advantage.
That gives him a significant advantage. And
did Zelascelar just take R20?
Maybe.
That was the file name.
I hope. I guess. I mean, obviously, I hope he's on 60 frames per second. Oh, but Beleos is not taking Bulls.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't look like it. He selected Bullseye.
435 Executioner. That's actually not too bad.
Yeah. Come on, you can do it. Yes.
Yes, come on.
We need to see this.
Yeah, I need to take a look at Zelascelar. Okay, no, Zelascelar looks like R60 or R80 on the swap.
All right, so here's the thing. Ben Quadaneros is the fastest pod. Bull's Roar is the second fastest, and the obvious pick since Ben was banned.
Yep.
Beto is the third fastest, But
He's
he's
in a
quite a
tie
bit
for third
slower.
fastest, right?
No. He is quite a bit slower than Bulls and a
Tied
bit
for
faster
third,
than Mars.
I thought. Okay.
No, there is
Okay.
a bit of a gap.
Okay.
But the weird thing about choosing Beto here is that his turning is barely better than Bulls, and his traction is the same.
Is Zelascelar just really like Speedo?
I guess, because I see no reason to pick Beto here other than because you like him.
Yeah, I mean, there is no reason to pick Beto other than that.
Yep.
Oh, this is also the actual run, guys. We gave the countdown.
Yeah. Sorry.
So far, Zelascelar is looking pretty comfortable on it, though.
Oh, sorry. I'm supposed to be syncing the streams here.
Zelascelar is looking pretty comfortable so far. Beleos did miss getting up on the high ground, so he's taking the low ground on a pod where the low ground is slower. But Zelascelar dies on the big tube entry, so that kind of evens things out.
And the low ground there is much slower if you're having to take it like Beleos is struggling to keep his boost up.
I have never seen a death on that landing.
That happened a couple times yesterday. No, or was it the day before?
Zelascelar died on tube exit as well. Beleos survives the entry. And hits that rock. That rock is a killer in this tube.
Uh-huh.
That's a specific one because you're basically approaching it blind. And Zelascelar is entering the second set of tubes. There's the Sarlacc. Oh, that's a door. Oh, right. This is the tube that leaves you suspended in the air for a little bit after exiting for some reason.
Yeah, it's really interesting. If you have a really high traction pod and low frame rate, I don't remember. Because I did it a bunch as a kid, I don't remember the setup I was using. But you can stay airborne for quite some time after leaving the tube. Unfortunately,
you don't keep the fast terrain benefit.
No, that would be pretty awesome. Actually, that would be a pain for speedrunning.
Are you kidding? That would make this one of the coolest tracks in the game.
The problem is that it's unreliable to get, and so you're grinding for this unreliable little benefit to your speed. Beleos makes it onto the fast route this time.
Good.
That means he's really going to be able to boost here.
He's going to finally be able to take some advantage of Bulls. Ooh, you didn't have to split that boost there.
It's not too big of a deal, though.
Nah.
Let's see if he survives the entrance.
Yep. Ooh, barely.
Barely. Yikes.
Is he surviving the tube?
He is.
He's boosting through the tube.
Nice.
All right, Beleos, we see you out here. And living through that. This lap is nuts. Beleos, why do you do this?
It's the easy route,
I guess. Okay, that's a death I don't see often, but yeah, Zelascelar stream is still frozen, so we're getting a little treat to the Beleos show. But this was a really good lap for him.
Yeah, it was, for sure.
Not a lap record, though. Man, he really has practiced this track.
Let's see if he gets the shortcut on lap 3. Getting onto the shortcut is E.
That's an awkward boost.
You should not have boost there. Getting onto the shortcut is a little difficult because the slot you have to make is quite small, and it's mostly blind.
Once you get a feel for it, it's not that hard, but it is tricky to learn.
Uh-huh.
Granted, the same could be said for quite a few things in this game. Alright, let's see if Beleos survives the tube again. Ooh, didn't live on the entry. Well, if he survives all the rocks, it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
And he does.
Well, there aren't any more rocks, so...
Yeah, because he died to all of them lap 1.
Yep. Only have to die to them once, at least on this track.
Yeah, thanks, Gauntlet.
Hey, nice. We have stream back, and okay, these are
How did that happen
horribly
to
out
the
of sync.
sync? They're visually super well synced.
Well, Zelascelar typed something in chat during the race, so I think he probably paused and left the game for a
He had to
moment
fix
to
his
fix
stream.
something. And it's immediately down again.
Yep. Sub 5 for Beleos. Well, this is unfortunate.
Asks Zelascelar for his time.
Hmm.
432.296. Excellent.
All right, well, that's kind of back, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean, both of those pods can go significantly faster. We just didn't see most of what happened with Zelascelar.
Yeah.
Not sure where where both of those cap out on this track actually.
Bulls can get sub 4.
Okay.
He can probably get like 455 or something.
Yeah, he could
Maybe
probably.
not.
My PB with Ben is 355.
Maybe that's optimistic. World record is like 348, I think.
Yeah, my Ben PB is 355, so I could see Bulls capping out about there. I really should grind that track a little more.
All right. So both players are jumping straight into bans again.
It's a Bulba ban. That's fun.
Yeah, Beleos bans a Bulba, which is just a throwaway ban, probably, unless he's forcing no upgrades.
In which case, Sebulba is the third fastest and by far easiest.
Yeah.
Of the three. Because his speed has nothing to do with his boost.
In response, Zelascelar is banning Eclair's Classic.
It's an interesting ban. Bunta Classic. Oh god.
Nice. No forces. Okay, so this is Bunta Classic. The track from the movie. I can talk. No forces. Beleos is not opting to use any forces. I suppose we should probably update the score or something.
Oh yeah, sorry. Honestly, I was half expecting an actual no upgrades force on this track.
I know, that would have been so cool.
So file that one away as an option.
Would be kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean Sebulba would be by far the easiest for this one.
Yeah.
God, the handling for the other two with no upgrades is rough.
Yeah, that would be a really interesting pick if somebody did that.
Yeah. I mean, I did that on Fire Mountain Rally last year, and it didn't exactly work out.
Yeah.
On paper, it wouldn't be a bad pick.
Yeah. Problem is, Bulls is even more OP with no upgrades than Ben is with upgrades.
Yeah, no, Bulls breaks it.
But
Beleos is going Ben. Beleos is going Ben on Boonta Classic.
That is brave. And Zelascelar is using his comfort pick.
I mean, Bullseye can 515.
Yeah, but Ben can 445.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ben's not going to 445 in tournament.
No, yeah, probably not, of course. But, you know, the potential for Ben is way faster than what Bullseye can do here.
Zelascelar's taking a much harder
But
approach
it
into
is
that
really hard.
shortcut.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I need to practice that here more. It's a really fun thing to play. All right. We're giving the countdown. Playing Ben on a track like this is one of the most satisfying things you can do in a racing game.
Yeah, for sure. This game wants to kill you so bad, but it's not unfair. The track is actually pretty well built. It's just that you have to be so precise all the time, and it will punish you if you're not.
I mean, the one thing I'd say is
Yeah,
a little unfair is the fires.
Yeah, so we will be seeing that. Oh, whoops! About to pause the wrong stream.
Oh, Beleos taking a non-standard route. That's fun.
Yeah, that route does cost a lot of time, though.
No, yeah, it does, but it's cool.
It sure is.
Ooh, and big
Ooh,
chicane.
and a death.
That chicane is tough. I mean, the whole track is tough, but that chicane's the really rough part. Or a really rough part.
It should be noted that although Ben is faster here, using him is so difficult that most players would benefit by using Bullseye.
Yeah.
So even though Beleos is using the faster pod, I doubt he has the experience on this track needed to make use of him.
Hold up, does Beleos? I don't think Beleos has a max traction upgrade. Or max, not traction, max acceleration upgrade. What?
I will stare at that for a minute.
Yeah, because I'm not sure.
Well,
he's also playing on really high traction.
Yeah, he does have the max speed upgrade because he's exceeding Ben's stock top speed. Oh no.
It's hard to tell.
So hard to tell. Anyway, not that big of a deal though.
No.
Zelascelar finishing lap with a 145, and that is on 5:15 pace.
Yep. And I think Bullseye caps at what, 5:10?
I'm curious though. Let me look at the PB's sheet.
Yeah, I'm really curious. Because I know he qualified really well on this track last year.
Yeah, so Zelascelar's tournament best on this track was a 5:13, and I'm sure that was set with Bullseye.
It was. I remember the match.
So he is approximately on pace to get that time again.
Yeah. See if he can manage. Like, if he goes deathless, he could match or pass it. This is one of those tracks where you ban Ben. Like, if he bans Ben, Zelascelar can take it to just about anyone on this track.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fire. Instant repair.
There's the fires we're talking about. When you catch fire, you have a 3% chance of repairing every frame that the game plays.
It's one of the very few actual moments of RNG in this game.
Yep. And so he was lucky and got a really fast repair.
Yeah. I'm not sure what frame rate he's on, but I don't think it's high. Another instant repair. It might actually be high.
I think it is actually pretty high.
A little slower than lap 1.
Yeah, he's probably not on the 5:13 pace anymore. He would need a really strong lap 3.
It's not impossible.
No. Beleos still struggling with Ben back here.
Like we said multiple times, Ben on this track is a nightmare.
I kind of wonder if Beleos, knowing that Ben is the fastest on this track, just decided to start practicing the track with him.
That's not a bad call.
Yeah, most of the time that works out in this game, but there are a few tracks where the fastest pod is not the pod that you should start running with.
Yet no.
And this is one of them.
It took me a long time to be comfortable enough with Ben to even try him in practice here.
Yeah. Yeah, I was using Mars here for quite a long time before I eventually switched to Ben.
Yeah, for me it was always Bullseye. But it's just one of those things where Ben is so much faster and so much more fun to use here if you can do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, he didn't die this weekend.
Nice. Zelascelar finishing up the track here. He has a couple turns left, a narrow slot, and then the home straight. Makes it through the slot, and now he's just going to max out his boost towards the finish line.
It's looking like a 5:15? Or a 16? Yeah. 5:16:17. That's not bad. Or 5:16:11. Bitrate stuff. 17.
That's 17.
That's really solid.
Yeah, it is. There are not that many players that can get a 5:16 with Bullseye on this track.
No.
And no deaths, which is extremely noteworthy because of how aggressively this track tries to kill you.
It's not quite the most aggressive about it, looking at you, Grabvine, but...
It is up there.
I mean, the big thing about it is... The big thing about it with this track is it's so long and so many different... Like, every section feels so different.
Hey, Ace is putting down some fighting words here, Paige.
Yeah, no, his last guy's got to beat me, and that's gonna be a tight match.
Yep, that'll be fun.
Like, if I weren't playing, I would not be putting a bet on it. And let's see where Beleos comes in at the end here, looking like about a 45, 46. Yeah, somewhere in there.
Okie doke.
All right.
Despite that being almost exactly a minute... Oh, no, sorry. 2 minutes. Slower than the world record. It's... A lot of players still cannot get a sub-7 on that track.
Yeah, no, it is so hard.
We recently found some really old databases of track records for this game, like going back to the year 2000.
Yeah.
And the record for this track was like in the 8 minutes or something.
It's insane, looking back. Let's look at I'm going to pull up some old submissions from our leaderboards and Cyberscore. Let's see. 15 years ago, I think this was actually might have been record at the time. Wouterman Jensen with a 5:57 with Bullseye. So that was in like 06.
Yeah. I can tell he would have been really happy with that run.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going into match point here.
Yep. Let's see where it goes.
One more win. And since Beleos lost the previous track, it is once again his turn to pick.
I'm not even going to try to make a call here. Like,
Beleos is thinking really hard about the pods that he's banning. Which is
Yeah.
good to see. He's really thinking about the strategy here.
Metallica, there were some swaps in name only. It's not going to change. It's not really going to change much. It was just to fix challenge formatting.
Beleos gave up on deciding and says ban ban.
His comment was basically, what the hell, I'll ban Ben.
Yep.
Oh, man. No Andobi Mountain Run from Zelascelar.
Okay.
This is a very anti-Andobi kind of man.
Yeah. Yes. I really like the Andobi tracks.
Yeah, I really like all of them.
Howler Gorge was my Howler Gorge was my favorite track. When I was a teenager playing this on Dreamcast, I'd go to it all the time to test out pods and have a lot of fun with the massive jump on it.
My favorite was actually Andobi Mountain Run as a kid. Out of those ones, but my actual favorite track as a kid was Grabvine of all things.
Grabvine was one of my favorites.
I mean, it's just so cool. Like all of the Barunda tracks are awesome. Bumpy's Breakers from Beleos. That is another one of my favorite tracks. I just don't get to play it that often. Ace couldn't beat Grabvine as a kid. Now look at him.
Uh-huh.
It's very much a how it started, how it's going. Oh, don't tell him Beto. He's just gonna ban it and torture Zelascelar.
I know. So Beleos force banned Bull's Roar, and then he asked who's the third fastest pod.
Beto or Mars.
Beto or Mars, depending on skill. So we'll see which one he picks.
Oh, he banned Mars. I mean, Beto is going to be so hard to use here.
Yeah. His speed is undeniably gives him the advantage, though. Beleos doesn't think he's ever used Beto.
If he'd force banned Beto, I don't know how good Zelascelar is at Mars, especially on a track with this shortcut.
Uh-huh.
And how narrow it is.
Yeah.
But that's where my concern comes in. It's how easy is that shortcut on a pod as wide as he is?
Uh-huh.
I guess Beto kind of falls into that, doesn't he?
Yeah. And I was practicing this track just the other day, and I was like, Mars is probably faster than Elan Mac, but the shortcut.
Yeah, no, I'm... Oh, that's Beto. Beleos didn't remember what Beto looked like.
That's great. Zelascelar's favorite pod is Aldar Beto. He's just always loved him. And, fortunately for Zelascelar, Beto is the third fastest pod in the game.
Yeah. It makes me... If we're going pods we like, it makes me really sad Sebulba's the second slowest. If not the slowest, isn't it kind of a toss-up between him and Teamto?
Sorry, say that again?
Sebulba and Teamto are kind of a toss-up for bottom?
Yeah, Sebulba is bottom.
Yeah.
By a little bit.
It's Zelascelar. He's taking my step and going Elan.
Interesting.
I expected him to go Beto.
I know, right? his favorite pod is the meta pick here, but he's not using him.
To be fair, Elan's really good here.
Yeah, this is true.
Like low track. This is a track where low traction and super high turn rate work really well together.
Let's see. Is Beleos taking Beto?
Yeah, he is.
This is great.
But Elan Mac, I think out of the higher tier pods would be my first choice with these bands. I know he's not the fastest, but his handling just lends itself super well.
Yeah, he is a pretty safe pick if you're unfamiliar, if you haven't practiced this track with Beto.
And practicing with bowls is basically practicing with Beto. It's so similar.
Yeah, kind of.
But no, Elan is one of my favorites to drive just because his handling is so unique. Oh, Beleos does not know this track.
I wonder if you're right. I don't think Beleos is accelerating as fast as he should be.
Yeah.
That kind of looked like no upgrades acceleration off the line.
It's not. No upgrades Beto acceleration is, yikes.
Well, oh no, this is pretty sus.
Yeah, that... We should have him check that before his next match.
Yep. Anyway, Zelascelar on the back straight.
Yeah, he's looking really good so far with Elan.
Yeah. He's coming up right here on first these doors, and then the shortcut. And we'll see how he handles the shortcut. It gets a lot of players.
Yeah, this shortcut is why neither of us likes the idea of going Mars or Beto here.
Yeah. All right, so he went through the shortcut okay.
He took it very safe.
Yeah. That shortcut is kind of insane in a speedrunning context because it's a 180-degree turn, incredibly narrow. You mean slightly wider than a pod is, and when you're speedrunning, you take it at full speed without brakes. It's just insane.
Someone in chat asking what's so unique about Elan's handling. It's a little tricky to explain, but...
Yeah, Elan has slightly better than average turn rate.
Meaning meaning the maximum speed at which he turns is pretty high.
Yeah, and he slides really aggressively, which is good. And you can see that Zelascelar sliding through these hairpins. He can get some really wide angles there, which allows him to take the turn tighter and maintain higher speed.
Yeah, it's a really nice balance for a track like this.
Uh-huh.
For a little while, I actually tested him as an alternative to Neva, like Neva Key if I force band down on Grabvine.
Yeah, I know, right?
On paper, it almost feels like it should work, but it does not.
Yeah. But, you know, in addition to the pretty decent handling, he is also one of the fastest pods in the game.
Yeah. Him, Mars, and Mahonic are the high-tier pods with, actually good handling in my eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of a three-way tie for fourth, depending on what track we're talking about.
Yeah. Ben's handling is solid enough, but there's a lot of stuff he can just barely do.
Anyway, Zelascelar coming into the stadium at the end of his second lap.
It's looking pretty solid.
Yeah, he hasn't had any dies yet. Any
dies?
Any dies. He hasn't had any deaths yet.
That was a 137 lap with Elan.
Yeah, he's doing really strong here. Beleos gets a red engine here. He'll have to repair that.
Let's see what shortcut he goes for. I didn't actually look lap 1.
He's been taking the long shortcut. Yeah, he missed it again and is going the long way.
Which is still way better than taking the intended route.
Yeah.
Staying on track there loses, I want to say 9 seconds over the really short version.
I don't know. It's a lot.
And maybe 5 over the long version.
It is a shortcut, though, that is significantly more dangerous than the normal route.
Yeah. No, that is... It's one of the most dangerous, just dev-placed shortcuts in the game. If not the most, behind the Grabvine and Fire Mountain one.
Yeah. I think I'd put it above that.
Yeah.
The Grabvine Fire Mountain shortcut.
That one you just have to brake for.
Yeah, and it's a single gap. This one, there are multiple gaps that you have to get in succession. And
But
the
it
gaps
is
are smaller.
really satisfying to get smoothly.
Yeah, for sure.
Zelascelar is looking like he'll be a sub 5 with Elan.
Which is really nice.
Yeah. 451.
Nice.
That is really good. And each lap got progressively faster by a decent margin.
Uh-huh.
You know, I've never understood how that waterfall works that Beleos just drove under.
That's a good question. Never really thought about it. Water's coming out of there really fast.
But that's fine, but it's two sharp angles, not an arc. That's not how gravity works.
Nah, it's just polygons, you know? Ah!
Woo!
Just barely clipped the door.
Let's see his shortcut attempts.
Well, it'll be easier now that he just barely died. He doesn't have any speed going into it. Yeah, goes really slowly through it. But that's just fine. That's still much faster than the normal route.
Yeah, that's still really good. Let's see his hairpin. It was actually decent lap 2. Ooh, ooh. Okay.
Well,
That's
he
better
got
than
the
not
slide
dying.
in. He just, got the slide in late.
Yeah. That hairpin is, unironically, really hard. It's deceptively hard. Sub 630? Yes, 628. That was a really fun little match, though.
Yeah, it was.
Beleos and Zelascelar always give us some interesting pod picks.
Yep. I'm still so surprised that Zelascelar did not use Beto on that track.
I mean, I don't blame him. I hate
know, but
playing Beto and Bowls there.
But when your favorite pod is the meta, you just,
Yeah, it's also really hard.
Yeah. Okie doke.
Yeah, let's get him up here.
Yeah.
Alright, there's Zelascelar.
Yeah, ahoy.
And Beleos.
And Beleos. That was a fun match, guys.
Hello?
Yeah, ahoy.
Hey.
Oh.
So, Beleos, can you check one thing for me real quick?
Yeah.
Go to your shop and let's see your acceleration upgrade.
Yeah, we've been wondering if maybe your acceleration part was downgraded a little bit.
Huh. I hope not. Let's.
Like, it looked low when you missed boost starts on Ben. Yeah, just go to tournament mode and go to parts. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you're
your
right.
acceleration is not upgraded.
that's
Oh,
not
no.
stock.
I
It's partly upgraded.
No, it's only halfway up the Huh. Oh shit. Oh, I'm sorry. That's on air. My bad.
Yeah, not,
Well,
You're going
oh
hard.
darn it.
by parts.
Yeah.
I thought
to
so.
Josh for it.
Yeah, we noticed that on like the last race. We're like, okay, he is definitely accelerating slow.
That explains some things.
So sorry
Upgrade
about
that
that.
right now. Upgrade that right now.
All right. Yeah, I turned up. My
Oh, it's not
turning
just-
wasn't maxed either.
It's not just not fully upgraded, it's damaged.
Oh right. Oh, Ace is right. Your turning and cooling might not be right either.
No, my cooling and my air brakes are not maxed out. What am I doing?
Oh,
And
Oh,
I don't
no.
have enough money now. Well, I guess I gotta run the tournament through before tomorrow.
yikes.
There's a 100% save file on speedrun.com.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
can use
well,
that.
I'll track it down. Oopsie. Well, it probably won't have won me any matches.
It's
But
important to have
I'll-
before your next match, though.
Oh, for sure. Oh, which was it earlier? Executioner. I was so upset I had to take the slow track. Oh no, that was pretty close versus Zelascelar there. If I hadn't
Yeah,
botched.
sometimes we're close.
Oh man, that's too bad.
That's really unfortunate.
You're gonna go Rock Lee in this tournament now.
Oh yeah, taking the training weights off. Here's hoping.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh,
Alright.
man.
Well, that little unfortunate bit aside,
It was fun otherwise.
that was a
Yes.
really fun little match. Let's see, what questions did I have?
Zelascelar, you didn't pick Beto on bumpies.
No, I really I thought about it. I should have done it, but no, I want to give Max some
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Elon Mack is just so good there. Like, just his stats are really solid for it.
and his sliding is awesome for those zigzag turns.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I went with B though before it on execution, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, super rusty.
And Executioner was also a weird one. Just like that first tube is brutal for one. But Beleos, your lap 2 on that tube was really good.
Yeah, it was. I think lap 2 and 3. I don't think I got killed on the second or third tube. It went over pretty well. I was happy.
The main tube, you did die on the entrance.
Yeah, I got clipped doing that 90-degree.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no way to like go through that quick because I usually need to brake a little bit.
You can actually do a little bit of a jump strat if you climb the right wall and jump back over.
Okay. Huh.
And
So
it's
just
not that
kinda
hard, just a little awkward to
Bump
learn.
the wall to get some air, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Huh. I'll give it a look.
But overall, I don't have that many questions for it. It was a fun little match, but everything was mostly standard.
Oh, it should be noted, Beleos, you have one match remaining, right, against the cylinder?
Yep,
Or
I got
cylinder?
against Lucinder tomorrow afternoon.
Right, and you are aware that if you lose that match, you will be eliminated from the group stage.
Yup, the pressure's even more on. Although I think this is versus Lucinder is probably going to be the most even match. I think they took seed 12 or 13. Something
Yeah.
like that.
I believe mathematically, if he beats you, you're out. But if you beat him,
He's probably out.
he would have to
Probably.
beat at least one.
He would have to beat Zelascelar at least.
Yeah, at least one of Yumi and Zelascelar.
Anyway, Cylinder qualified in 15th. You qualified in 19th.
Okay, yeah, so that's probably the closest it's gonna be for my group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that should
At
be That should be a fun one to watch, honestly.
Well, I hope so.
But,
I don't have anything else. I don't.
yeah,
think.
no, I think I don't have many other questions. Do you have anything you want to say real quick before we wrap it up?
Nope.
Don't think so. Nagtosh approves.
No, hey, Beleos, on Boonta Classic. Which pod did you win?
Oh yeah. I wasn't sure. Well, they Zelascelar decided not to take Boonta training. I just thought, what the heck? Let's take Boonta Eve. Although it's super fun, but it's not my best.
Yeah.
And Ben is also just incredibly difficult.
Ooh,
It's super tricky. I wasn't because it had I hadn't really practiced at this tournament, so on the spot I didn't remember if it had like the kinds of straightaways you could abuse like in Ubuntu training. So
So Ben is optimal on that track, but
pods are better.
yeah. If you're not really familiar with the track, another pod like Bullseye or Mars is better.
Oh, go figure. Like last year and previously, like Bullseye's kind of like, you know, my comfy pod, even though it's way down the list otherwise.
I mean, he's not way down the list.
Well, I guess besides the super twisty tracks.
Yeah. I wouldn't call him awful.
Oh no, but yeah, by far
on
it's
any track.
It's fun. Yeah.
Like, he's always a fine, beginner-friendly pod who can get a respectable time on most tracks. Because, I mean, 300...
That's kind of what drew me to it.
Yeah, 300 boost thrust with really good cooling is actually decent.
Yep.
But with that, I think we should hand this channel back over to SpeedGaming.
Yep.
Sounds good.
So our next match will be tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern time, and that will be between Beleos and Cylinder. So,
Cylinder's playing at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's like, what, 10 p.m. for him?
Yeah, something like that.
Oof.
Yeah, so that should be a really exciting match. We'll see. That will likely determine which of those two players gets eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah.
And then we have another match on Saturday at 7:30 Eastern time between Nock and Joggleby. That should also be a really interesting
That'll be a
match,
really tight match.
because Nock has been showing us some really strong stuff, and Joggleby has just kind of showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, he showed up out of nowhere, qualified in what, 11th?
Yeah.
Yeah, 11th.
So that'll also be really interesting to see. And then a couple of matches on Sunday. So
we'll see what happens. A lot of good matches
tomorrow.
coming up. All right.
Yeah, right.
Well, this has been another match of Galactic Pod Racing Circuit. Fantastically played to both of you. That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Thank you to our players. Thank you to King Bean for joining on commentary. Thank you to SpeedGaming for holding this. And thank you to all of our viewers for joining us. We will see you all tomorrow at 4.
Yep. See you guys.
Yep. Here's all.